everybody. So today we are doing 5-2 exponential functions day 2. Looking at this, exponential functions, the definition, we already know that it's y or f of x equals a times b to the x. And then the transformation of that, we've also worked with this. So a times b, x minus h plus k. You did this earlier. We did this at the beginning of the year, so this is nothing new. My parent table, right now, I just want to use -1, 0, and 1. Now, if I plug those in for x's, you can even just look over at the sketch of it. Well, it looks like it's at -1 is at 1/2, 0 is at 1, and 1 is at 2. Okay, cool. Good. Domain. What does domain mean again? Domain are my x values. So, what are my x values here? Well, it looks like it goes off on the left for forever, so -infinity. And then it goes off to the right for forever, so to +infinity. What do you think is happening at for my range? So that is my y values. Well, it looks like it goes all the way down to 0, but it never touches it. So I'm going to say 0, and then it goes up for forever. Now, thinking back to last week, we talked about a certain line that it never crosses. That is your asymptote. So what would be my asymptote here? Well, looking at it, it was really nice, and they went ahead and drew it as a dashed line. So I'm just going to write hey, y equals 0. So it never goes below that. Now, my end behaviors, as x goes to +infinity, it's going up for forever, so goes to infinity. As x goes to -infinity, well, it looks like it just kind of goes down to 0, so it just goes to 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and try one of these out. Well, thinking about this again, I'm going to go ahead and write out what my parent function should be. So here, I'm saying I want to know what's happening as y equals 3 to the x power. So I have -1, I have 0, and I have +1. Now let's plug those in for x. So I have 3 to the -1st power. That's the same thing as just saying, hey, I have 1/3. 3 to the 0 power is 1. 3 to the 1st power is 3. Okay, now thinking about my equations to get to my child graph or the baby graph. It's always x plus h. So what is h here? H is +1. What is k here? Well, I don't have anything, so k is just 0. Nothing happens there. So let's go ahead and take all of our x's and add 1 to them. So -1 plus 1 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2. Now, the second one, ay plus k. So what is a? A is -1/2, and then y. K is just 0, so I don't want anything to do with that. So what is -1/2 times -1/3? Well, 1 times 1 is 1, so I have -1 over 3 times 2 is 6, so -1/6. Okay, -1/2 times 1. That's, again, just -1/2. -1/2 times 3. Well, 3 times 1, that's -3 over 2. Now we can go ahead and graph them. So at 0, I'm going to go down to -1/6. So I don't know, it's like somewhere right around there. At 1, we're going down to -1/2. So that's right there. And at 2, we're going down to -3/2. So 1/2, 2/2, 3/2. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line that goes through all of that. Perfect. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the next problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and just write out what a is. So a equals 2. B is 10. Cool. H equals -1, because we always switch the sign. And k equals -3, because that sign stays the same. Okay, so we're starting off with x and y. We have -1, 0, and +1. Okay, so 10 to the -1st power is not negative, it's just 1/10. 10 to the 0 is 1, and 10 to the 1st is 10. Perfect. Now x minus 1, or plus negative 1. It's the same thing. So let's look at how this is going to work out. Well, we have negative 1 minus 1. That's negative 2. 0 minus 1. That's negative 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. Now we want AY plus K. So A is 2. Y here is 1/10, so 2 times 1/10 minus 3. So 2 times 1/10 is 20, so 19 minus 3. That should be negative 14/5. 2 times 1 minus 3, so 2 times 1 is 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And 2 times 10 minus 3. 2 times 10 is 20. 20 minus 3 is 17. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this out. So we have a dot at negative 2, negative 14/5. Okay, so everything's going by 5s, so that tells me that I'm going to go somewhere right about down here. And then negative 1, negative 1. So somewhere that's right there. And 0, 17, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17. So somewhere here. So it looks like we are going up something that looks like that. That's just a rough sketch of what I think it should look like. Okay. Now for the very last one, go ahead and try this one out and we're going to check it together. Okay, so we should have gotten my x's as being 1, 2, and 3, my y's as being negative 7/4, negative 3/4, and negative 1/4. I went ahead and figured out what a, b, h, and k were, and then I just used the equations x minus h, and then ay plus k. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put up the third video, so get ready to watch that next one.